I made over $250,000 selling on Amazon, but I wanted to see if Amazon still works, so I launched a new product.
And we're going to share with you what his new product is, how he did it, including all his startup costs, and then we're going to go month by month and share his revenue, all his costs, and his final profit. And make sure to stay till the end of the video, because at the end of the video, Troy's going to share one of the biggest mistakes he made that cost him over $100,000. And this is a common mistake that a lot of beginners make. Let's talk about what your passion product is and dive right into how much it cost you to start selling it on Amazon.
I was a college tennis player and I started selling tennis grips on Amazon in 2020. I made about $50,000 selling these tennis grips, but as I've gotten older and more mature, I realized that the grips weren't using really an eco-friendly material. So I wanted to create a product that was eco-friendly and still in the sporting world. So I decided to start selling eco-friendly basketballs on Amazon, but I was a little nervous. Does Amazon FBA still work?
And there are over 300,000 people searching for basketballs on Amazon every single month. And the way that selling on Amazon works is people go to Amazon, type in what they want to buy, and your goal is to show up at the top of the search results. And as we can see, with over 300,000 people per month searching for basketballs, there's some percentage of those people that are going to want a vegan or eco-friendly basketball. Compare that with tennis grips, which is only being searched around 1,800 times per month. There's a lot more opportunity for Troy to sell his eco-friendly basketball than there ever was with tennis grips. The first cost Troy had was he spent $1,000 getting a prototype of his vegan basketball. How did you find a manufacturer and how did you get that prototype?
Yeah, so I just went to Alibaba and went to a couple of different basketball suppliers that were already making basketballs and asked them if they could use my vegan eco-friendly material and put that on the basketballs. And they ended up sending me about 10 to 15 different basketballs. I tested them and found the basketball that I liked best, my friends liked best, my college basketball, my pro friends liked best.
And then from there, you spent around $6,500 manufacturing that. So you found the prototype you liked, you spent $6,500 manufacturing it. What was going through your head at this point?
Yeah, so we were stoked. We found a ball that we're like, this is going to compete with the best balls on the market. And we're like, let's shop it here. So we ended up buying, I think, 1,000 basketballs, and brought it to market.
And the next step was shipping your 1,000 basketballs from overseas into the US Amazon warehouse, and you spent around $3,500 in shipping. Did you do air shipping or sea shipping?
I did sea shipping. It's much cheaper to do sea shipping, and we were kind of a new company here because I switched brands. And so I wasn't in a rush to get them out. I see the benefits of air shipping, but we just did sea shipping and it was easy.
And when selling on Amazon or importing products, you have two options. Sea shipping, which as Troy said, it's going to be slower, but it's going to be a lot more affordable. And there's also air shipping, which is by plane. It's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be really fast. So if you have a lightweight item, for instance, when Troy was selling tennis grips, air shipping might have made a lot of sense, but when it's a bigger product, you probably are going to want to do sea shipping. The next cost that Troy had was he spent $300 getting his photos and all his different items ready for his Amazon listing, because when you sell on Amazon, you need to create a listing on Amazon's website and they require you to put photos of your product. How did you do the photos for your Amazon listing?
Yeah, I did a couple of different things. I hired a freelancer to take some photos and put them in, the graphics, the lifestyle images, those different things. My hero image, I took a couple pictures myself of me playing with the ball, of other basketball players playing with the ball. But images on Amazon are so important that you should take that seriously, and I think I would even take it more seriously if I were to do it again.
And this is a crucial part, because when people are buying your product off Amazon, they can't hold the product, they can't feel the product. All they really have to go by is the images. And I recommend going with FBACreatives.com. I'll put a link down below with a discount code if you're interested in using them. The next cost was you spent $500 on your trademark. Talk about that and why did it cost so much money?
Yeah, the trademark was a little tricky because EcoSports is a little generic names. It's not Travis and Troy's company that nobody else has type of thing. So I hired somebody to help me with it. And the first time we didn't get it fully approved, we got kind of a soft rejection. So we had to kind of finagle some things to get it approved the second time around.
And normally if you do it by yourself, a trademark will cost you around $275. Troy spent around $350 because he had some help, and then another $150 on his reapply. Another cost that Troy had was buying barcodes. And when you're selling a product on Amazon, you need to buy UPC, which stands for Universal Product Code, barcodes, so that Amazon knows that this is a legitimate product. And this is the barcode that they scan at Walmart or any store. And you spent $250 on this. How come you spent so much money on the barcodes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Basketballs come in sizes, men's, women's, and kids. Soccer balls come in sizes, size 5, 4, 3, even 1 if you wanted the little like toy one. So I needed multiple SKUs or UPC codes for that. So I bought the 10 pack and I knew I was going to launch more products. So I was like, why not have the extra ones now?
And if you just want one UPC code, you can buy it for $30. If you want 10, it's going to cost you $250. And as you need more, there are bulk discounts. Another cost that Troy had is he spent $750 getting an LLC for his business. Why did you decide to go with an LLC and why did it cost $750?
Yeah, I went with an LLC. It was just I'm a sole company right now. It was just kind of the easiest way to do it. And the reason it cost $750, again, was I hired somebody to help me with. There's also legal fees of submitting documents. But I wanted to make sure I did this right. And I'm super glad I did do that because I have to use my LLC number, my EIN number all the time. I'm grateful that it's set up correctly.
And for the record, you don't need an LLC to sell on Amazon. You can instead use your social security number, or if you want to separate your business and personal accounts, you can do a DBA, which is going to cost around $99. And if you do a DBA, you can still get an EIN number. EIN numbers are free to get on the internet. I'll put a link down below on how to do that. But that being said, an LLC does provide you some legal protection. So if you're nervous about potentially getting sued, you're going to want to go with an LLC. And in California, where we live, LLCs are much more expensive than in other states. And the last major cost that Troy had when selling on Amazon was paying for his account. How much does it cost to have a professional seller account with Amazon?
Yeah, it's $39.99 a month, so it's not too bad. And
yeah. And if you want to start off slow, you can do the individual seller plan, which is free, but you have to pay an extra 99 cents per item that you sell. So if you're going to sell more than 40 units in a month, you might want to just upgrade to the professional plan. And we're going to get into month by month how Troy's products actually did. But before we do that, in total, you spent over $13,000 starting this business. How did you feel? Were you nervous about this? Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous about it. And not only that, but I also had quit my day job to pursue this full time. So there was a lot kind of riding on the line here, but I had 2 years of experience of being successful on Amazon. So I thought that if there's more search volume, there's more money to be made, that why wouldn't it work?
And in your first month selling this product on Amazon, how much money did you make in revenue?
Yeah, we did over $6,000. I think it was $6,300 in our first month of revenue. So I was higher than a kite.
So that's pretty good, but you have to remember that revenue is not profit.
Correct.
And the first cost you had was the cost of actually manufacturing those products. What was the cost of the products that you sold?
So the units cost around $10 for a landed cost, not including my time or effort. So for the product alone, it was around $1,700 that we spent for what we sold.
The next fee was the Amazon selling fee. And when you sell products on Amazon, you have to pay 15% of the total cost of your product. And how much did you spend on this Amazon selling fee?
Yeah, I spent around $945 on the Amazon selling fee, which starts to add up for sure.
Another fee that a lot of people don't consider is the Amazon FBA pick and pack fee. And the way that selling on Amazon FBA works is you send the products that you want to sell on Amazon into the Amazon warehouse. This makes it so your products are Prime eligible. And when someone goes to Amazon and orders a product, Amazon picks, packs, and ships that product out from their warehouse to your customer, but they do charge you some money for this. And how much money did you spend in that first month in the Amazon FBA pick and pack fee?
Yeah, so that one was almost $900 as well. I think it was like $884 that we spent for that. I will say though, so it kind of turns out to be around 25%-ish that Amazon takes from you. But if you think about a storefront cost or like a brick and mortar that you're going to have, like your fees are going to be much higher than 25%. And like to have somebody do all the packaging and shipping for you, it's a nice perk. You pay a lot for it, but there's a lot of benefits of doing it.
And even with a Shopify website or your own online business, you're going to have to pay for things like marketing, and that's going to be more than 15%. You're also going to have to pay for people to come and pick and pack, and you have to pay for postage. So a lot of people complain about all the Amazon FBA fees, but I think it's completely worth it because Amazon does have over 300 million Prime customers in the world going to Amazon every month. They get over 2.5 billion page visits every single month. So if you just sell your products on Amazon and pay for that selling fee, it ends up being about the same as you'd spend in marketing anyways. And in total, in your first month, how much money did you actually make in profit?
Yeah, profit, we made $2,500 in profit, which is a great start of my first month.
And so how did you feel about that? Were you excited? Were you still expecting to do more?
No, I would say that was probably what I expected to do and hoped to do. I mean, $2,500 covers rent and some expenses. So like that's incredible and amazing. And we're only in our first month. And to me, I think I have this awesome brand and identity here that can scale and grow. It's not just one product that's going to do the same forever.
And one really important thing when selling on Amazon is how you launch the product. You want a really solid launch strategy because the way that selling on Amazon works is the more sales you get from day one, the more likely Amazon is to put your product up at the top of the search results, and people are more likely to buy your product if it's at the top of the search results. And did you have any kind of a launch strategy, or talk about what you did?
Yeah, I did not have much of a launch strategy, which I totally regret to this day. And as we get more into the numbers, like I wish I had kind of more of a long lasting strategy because we did well. We came out of the gun hot, but slowed down a little bit in the end. And so we ran some PPC. I think, I had a couple friends buy a couple balls. So that was kind of it.
And a launch strategy is one of the most important things that a lot of people don't consider. And I talk about this in depth in my Amazon FBA program. I'll put a link to that down below if you're interested in learning more in depth from me. And in your second month, how much did you do in sales?
Yeah, so we did over $10,000 in revenue, which was really amazing and rewarding. We did launch a second product, the soccer balls. So I think that helped to get us over that, five-digit number mark there, which is cool.
And there was still a lot of costs associated with this. How much was the product cost for your month two?
Yeah, product cost was just under $3,000, like $2,700 for all the balls. So we sold 268 units, which again, I'm super happy with.
And what about the Amazon selling fee?
Amazon selling fee turned out to be, I think if you combine the selling fee was like $1,600.
Okay. And then the pick and pack fee?
Yeah, that was $1,400. So what's that? $3,000 kind of total for that.
And in total, how much profit did you do in your second month?
Yeah, so with $3,000 product cost, $3,000 of Amazon FBA fees, we were around $4,500 of profit.
This is starting to be pretty good money. This is enough to replace most people's income. $4,500 a month. That ends up being over $50,000 a year, maybe almost $60,000 a year. How are you feeling at this point?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have a $10 million business in a couple of years. It was booming.
There was one big issue though, and that was the quality control issue. Talk about that.
Yeah, so this is my biggest regret today in business of we worked really hard to find a basketball that we loved. And when we got our bulk order of 1,000 basketballs, it was still a basketball, felt like a basketball. It just wasn't as good of a basketball. Mm-hmm. So it was really just a bummer on, I want to have this eco-friendly, sustainable product that doesn't compromise on performance. And with the current ball that we had, it did compromise a little bit performance. It didn't last as long. It wasn't as soft, as touchy as this basketball should be. And we started to, feel the effects on that in kind of month 3, 4, or 5-ish.
And that brings us to month 3. Mm-hmm. How much in revenue did you do in month 3?
Yeah, month 3 was awesome. We did $17,000 just over, which was incredible. Again, higher than a kite, thinking we got something special here.
Keep going up. And after all your different costs, what was the profit from month 3?
Yeah, so we profited $6,500. Wow, that's awesome. That's
pretty good.
That's really cool.
And at this point, I know you were starting to think about other products that you could do. Was there anything else on the horizon that you were going to be launching soon?
Yeah, so again, kind of my big gist was to replace leather in sports. So what sports are using that? Like volleyball uses leather, football uses leather. So we kind of went into the volleyball market. It was a little less competitive than footballs were. So we started thinking about launching volleyballs.
And this is a key thing when selling on Amazon. I always recommend starting with one product, but if you have a winning product, you can start creating a bigger brand. And that brings us to month 4, how much in sales did you do in month 4?
Yeah, so we did $11,700 of revenue. Again, still amazing, but a much bigger decline. I will say the first couple months were kind of winter Christmas months, and so now we're kind of getting out of that. We're getting out of basketball season, and we started to get some negative reviews on the basketballs.
Why were you getting the negative reviews?
Again, the basketball just wasn't the quality standard that we had hoped for and promised. I created the listing with the original ball in mind of like, this is an awesome ball, and people were getting it, and it's like, it's a, kind of a cheap ball. And I was like, it's not, I swear, we're using expensive eco-friendly materials. Like, you look at these other companies, they're getting basketballs for $4 and I'm spending, $10, $12 on them. So that one was costly.
And you also ran out of inventory. Did you run out of the basketballs?
Yeah, so we ran out of basketballs, which there was a demand for eco-friendly, sustainable basketballs. And so we ran out of inventory, which was really great from an eco sports standpoint. But now we had a lot of customers with not our favorite quality, what we know we can make, what we currently have now, product out there in the hands.
And so 3 weeks without inventory is probably a pretty big reason why your sales actually declined. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say a big reason, and to kind of the strategy and unpreparedness of, we did $17,000 of revenue the last month, and I wasn't ready for that. Like, even the $10,000 I was stoked to do. I was kind of hoping to do like 5, 6, 7, 8, just like build it up like 1 month, $1,000 every month type of thing. And we went too fast, too quick, which was a great problem. And then I couldn't get balls in time. Plus, I was revamping the ball as well so that we could have a better product for our next batch of balls.
And in total, in the 4th month, after you subtract out all the costs, how much profit did you do for that month?
Yeah, we still had $4,000 of profit, so
not bad.
Still great.
And in month 5, something kind of bad happened. Your revenue actually went down. How much revenue did you do in month 5?
We did $8,300 in month 5. So yes, continuing to drop back down.
What do you think was happening during this month?
Yeah, I think continuing to get out of Christmas months, continuing to get some negative reviews, continuing to just drop down gradually in the listings, because we were on the first page for some baller key terms for a while, and it's just kind of continually getting less and less, and we were kind of on the border of the first page and second page a lot, and it's costly being on the second page.
And then after you subtract out product cost, all the Amazon selling fee, Amazon FBA pick and pack fee, how much profit did you do in this 5th month?
We did just under $3,000 of profit.
How are you feeling at this point?
I was starting to get nervous and kind of trying to figure out what this trend is happening, why it's happening, and how I can fix it, especially given as I didn't have kind of this launch strategy to help me, keep the gradual momentum going.
And in month 6, the revenue continued to drop. How much did you do in revenue in month 6?
We did $6,300 in month 6. So yes, continuing to drop. I mean, if you compare it to month 1, it's great, but not compared to month 3, that was $17,000. So another thing that happened this month is that we got our 3rd and current batch of basketballs, which I love and compete with any basketball on the market, and they're great for indoors and outdoors. So I've really had to, work with our supplier and kind of make sure that we have the product that can help me and my company reach the goals that we're trying to get to.
And after you subtract out the product costs and all the fees, how much profit was that?
$2,400 of profit. So now it's starting to get a little fishy.
Especially considering that you had quit your job and all this, but there was a solution that you had to this to increase the revenue. What did you do to increase the revenue of Amazon?
So I still think that Amazon is fully a great way to sell on, but it's not the only way to sell. And especially as you want to continue to build a brand and a business, if you're doing 100% of your revenue on Amazon, you should figure out ways to do revenue on other platforms, whether it's your website, whether it is a brick and mortar, whether it's, different things. And so I worked with some summer camps that bought hundreds of basketballs in one order, which is amazing. I can sell it to them at a lower price, and I don't have to pay for shipping to Amazon, the Amazon FBA fees, so my fees go down as well.
And how much did you make off of summer camps? And you were also selling it on your own website during this time. So how much extra revenue did you do?
Yeah, correct. So my Shopify website, I think Shopify and websites take much longer time and effort, maybe less money, but time is a big thing on the website. Yeah. So I was doing about like $500 to $1,000 of revenue kind of at this point on the website, but the summer camps I did about $8,000 $3,000 of revenue. And again, with the profit margin, I was probably doing $3,000 to $4,000 of revenue on those summer camps.
And this
Or
is
of profit, sorry.
Oh, and this is why I always recommend selling a passion product, because the passion product is a unique product that's different from the competition, and it allows you so you can sell your product on Amazon, but also on your own website or doing wholesale style orders. A lot of people out there are teaching private label, which is where you just take a generic product, slap your brand on it, and put it on Amazon. And even though that can kind of work in the short term, what Troy did allowed him to sell in multiple different arenas on his own website and in bulk summer camp orders. And in total, including the grips and everything you've sold on Amazon, how much money have you made off of Amazon in revenue?
Yeah, so that was only our first 6 months of selling on Amazon for EcoSports. We've thus this day, as of filming, we've done over $260,000 of revenue on Amazon.
And after we subtract out the product cost, all the other fees, how much profit have you done?
Yeah, so I've done just under 80,000. I would love to get to 100,000 soon, but $79,000 of revenue.
So what do you think? Is it too late to sell on Amazon, or does Amazon still work now?
No, I think it's never too late to sell on Amazon. If anything, there's more people shopping on Amazon and more opportunity. Maybe there's more products being sold, but as my kind of advice here is if you take the time to learn and take a course like Travis's or something, you can outsell 98% of the people selling on Amazon. There are a couple people like Travis or myself that know what they're doing, but the rest of the people just put their product up there and then let it ride. So if you can master your images, your listing, your PPC, those types of things, you can sell successfully on Amazon.
And the numbers back up what Troy is saying. People are buying things more and more online every single year. In fact, last year there was over $500 billion spent on Amazon, and that's going to increase to over $600 billion this year. So it's not too late to sell on Amazon, but be careful because there are some common mistakes that new sellers make. And Troy made 3 mistakes, including one mistake that cost him over $100,000. Talk about what was the first common mistake that you made that people at home should probably avoid.
Yeah, I would say quality inspection is a big one that I'd wish I had paid the extra money up front, which I just didn't know any better. I didn't think that it would make that much of a difference. They sent me a couple samples that were awesome. Why wouldn't they all be just like that?
And when you're buying from a manufacturer overseas, usually you're gonna pay around 30% upfront, and you can hire an inspector for around $100. They'll go to the factory, they'll spot check a bunch of the products, and if there is an issue, then you can tell the manufacturer, hey, you need to fix this, or you don't pay them the rest of the money.
I would also say a couple things of communication gets lost of they work in grams and not ounces or weights, or they work in centimeters and not inches. So making sure that your product, if it has certain specifications, but you got to be able to do those translations and make sure that the communication gets across that I need it to be this way, or they kind of do it their way.
The next mistake cost you over $10,000, and that was running out of inventory. Talk about this mistake and how can people at home avoid making this?
Yeah, so I actually had this problem with my tennis grips as well. I just didn't know I'd sell so successfully with the basketballs to start. But ordering inventory, like looking at the numbers and looking at the data and seeing what happens if you're gonna be on the first page, and making sure that you have 3 to 6 months of inventory available is key and essential. I will say though, it's hard to do those numbers when it takes you 2 months to get inventory over from overseas. And also you kind of, who knows if you're gonna be the first listing or the bottom listing. So that consistency is kind of tough. And then also storage, because I was limited to how many balls I could send into Amazon. So I could only store so many balls in my apartment.
Yeah, and they've since changed that. For a while, there was a lot of really strict limitations on how much you could send into Amazon. They've changed some of this. And I will say that a lot of the stuff that Troy's talking about, I do talk about in depth in my Amazon FBA program. But that leads us into the third mistake. And what was the third? And I think this is easily a $100,000 mistake. I think you would have made over an extra $100,000 if you would have capitalized on this. What was that third mistake? And walk us through it.
Yeah, I wish I had a strategy, a community built in that I could have launched to, and they could have helped, get me to the first page on all my products. Like we have a football that's going on right now that does okay, but we're not on the first page for, flag football balls type of thing. Like those are the type of things that, having a community and courses with those secret tips would have really been able to maximize. And again, we've done $20,000 of revenue if you include all my different platforms. And, now we're down to $6,000, $7,000. With all these mistakes that I had with the basketball, we are on our third version of the basketball, and it is awesome, and it competes with the best basketballs on the market. So kind of trial and error and learning from your mistakes is essential to create the best product that can get to the goals that you're trying to get to.
And the more that you strategize, the more that you plan out, the more success you're going to have. Troy had a ton of success, but he's going to continue to have more and more success over time as he learns from those mistakes. But if you want to learn rapid fire how to sell on Amazon, I have a free 5-hour Amazon FBA course. You can click right here. It's a free YouTube video. So click on that video. I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.